Beautiful fish. And off he swims. Every year at about this time, around mid-April, there's a hatch of aquatic flies called Grannoms on the River Avon and many other places. You can see the adults swarming over the water here. They are small sedges or caddisflies which are related to moths but with hairy wings instead of scaly or powdery wings. The immature sedges live underwater in little cocoon-like houses that they make for themselves, usually a tube shape and often with tiny bits of debris, leaf litter, twigs, etc., stuck to the outside to camouflage them from predators. When it's time to hatch into an adult, the larva forms a pupa, like a butterfly might, but unlike the butterfly chrysalis, the sedge pupa is mobile and can swim to the surface, which it does when it's time to hatch. As soon as the pupa hits the surface, it splits open and the adult sedge emerges and flies off. After a short while, it returns to the water to swarm and mate, with the females laying their eggs by dipping down onto the surface of the water. During a hatch of grannoms, there are so many pupae swimming to the surface and adult flies laying their eggs that fish, especially trout and grayling, feast on these easy pickings. They chase the pupae up to the surface and try to snatch them before the adult emerges, or they grab the adult females as they lay their eggs. You can see there are a lot of fish rising here, and the key, as an angler, is to try and work out whether they're feeding on emerging adults, emergers, or on adult flies laying their eggs, as the artificial flies that mimic these two stages are very different. Sometimes you can see the fish taking adults off the surface, in which case, try a dry fly pattern. Otherwise, it might be sensible to start with an emerger pattern and change it if you don't have any success. The grannom hatch is the first big hatch of the year and is often the first really good chance to catch a trout on a dry fly. Now, let's see if I can manage it. I've got half an hour in between planning meetings at work. This is my lunch break. I think the fish are rising, but I really haven't. Well, they are rising. I've been watching out of the out of the window of my binoculars in the meetings, and they're not rising massively readily like they were before when I filmed it yesterday. But with any luck, I'll be able to tempt something. I'm trying the size. I'm starting with the size 16 grannom dry CDC today, just to see if smaller is better. But it's all a bit of a rush. This is early season, and the grannoms, which are the first sedges to have a good hatch, are out in force, and the fish have been feeding on them now for 2 or 3 days after a cold snap, which kind of set everything back. So it's still frosty. It was still frosty last night. So there's a rise, a nice rise there. So the fish are definitely not quite maybe as enthusiastic as they would be if it were warm at night. But I'm hoping that they will be feeding on adults. That is right over the top of the latest rise. They're just beginning to come on now. The meeting notifications are going off on my watch now. And the fish are just starting to really show some interest. Right, come on, let's go for those bigger ones up there, because those are trout. Come on. Ooh, that one might be a trout as well, actually, and that one. Yeah, here we go. They've started now. Come on, Ben, don't be so crap. That up there is a trout. That is a really nice trout. That cast is right on its head. Well, a few inches above its head. And it doesn't want it. Come on. Oh, that is a good sized fish. Come on, have it. Right, I'm going to try and get closer to that one because the wind's now picked up. And that is the most interesting one. Well, there are two there, I think. Right, that is exactly where it should be. And the fish, there are two fish up there, side by side, that are rising very calmly and very solidly. And I cannot tempt them with this fly. That little burst of activity seems to be over now, so that's good. I can calm down and not catch them. Oh, that's a nice fish, and I've just cast right. And there we go. Yes. Yes. Oh, look at that. Exciting little fish. Trout of some sort. Oh, come on, come on, come on. Oh, don't. Lovely little brownie. Hooray. Well, look at that. Beautiful fish. I'll find out. Oh, no, I have actually. Okay, let's just unhook you. And off he swims. Awesome. Right, so there's one rising right next to me. The air is now thick with, it is like mayfly fishing. And they're crawling on me. Okay. Right, back to the meeting. Damn it. Oh well, one fish. Millions of rises. Okay, I'm back on it. I think the rise is over. So the hatch is over. So I'm going to start with the dry fly I finished with before, which is, as you can see, that little Grannom CDC sedge. And if that doesn't elicit any rises, and the rises don't start while I'm here, then I'm going to go to a pupa nymph, a caddis pupa nymph. Let's see if they're still feeding on that, but doesn't look like they're still rising. I haven't seen much from up street from my window, which is up there, top left. Looking down here with my binoculars, couldn't see much happening. So I think I had the best of it, although I only had one trout. But we'll see. Let's just see what happens. I'll give it, I don't know, 10 minutes like this and then try a nymph if... Oh, there's a rise straight away, you see. A ye of little faith. But on the other hand, it could be that I've got to try an emerging pupa or something, because they certainly weren't going for this to any great degree when I was here before. little grayling. I just had a little munch at that. Well, apart from the fact that all fell in a heap, I was heading in the perfect direction. Ooh, look at that. Now, what are you chasing? Now, are you after adults? Oh, that was just not where I meant to put that. Oh, my goodness. You could almost believe he was going after my fly there. Okay. So, putting on a tiny little sedge pupa emerger like that. When I say tiny little, it's on something like a size 16, so it's not that tiny or little. Someone with my awesome eyesight, that's pretty small. I don't know how much I've missed. I don't know whether I missed, so I've missed a lot, clearly. Come here. So I tried an emerger. I hope you've got that. And then it stopped rising, so I put on a heavy, almost check nymph, a beautiful grayling. Look at that. And that was just too heavy to cast with this little 4-weight. So then I put on a green sort of pheasant tail, gold-ribbed pheasant tail, which looks just like a caddis pupa. And first chuck with an induced take had that grayling. Okay, I'm now put on a little green clink on the understanding that I have formed with the fish, obviously, that this is quite close to an emerging pupa of a grannom, which is sort of green. And it's parachute, well, obviously it's a parachute fly. And so really it should be thoroughly irresistible. It's quite hard to see rises in amongst all these boils caused by the weed bumping up to the surface, but you can see them. And they just look more like rises. That's going to drag quite quickly, but I've got a fish in the meantime. Come on! Oh, it's going downstream of me now. Oh, it's going into the bank. That's lovely. I think from the way it's fighting, it's a trout. Looks like a trout. It is a trout. Come here. Right, another beautiful trout. This one on a clink. About the same size as the others. Come on. I'm not making it easy for myself, am I? There we go. Right. Just unhook this little beauty. There we go. Beautiful little trout. Back you go. And off he goes. Well, that was excellent. So today, I'm just trying to think of the fish that I've hooked and the fish that I've landed. I don't think I've had any on traditional dry or CDC adult. Had one grayling on a nymph, fished, what's the word, induced take style. I've had another trout on the subsurface pupa, I had a trout just now. I've lost a trout on, can't remember what, I think a parachute emerger. And I've had one on this clink. Nothing enormous, but those are still to come. So, what have I learnt from my day fishing Grannoms? Apart from the fact that I forgot that I caught my first trout of the day on a CDC sedge dry fly. Well, I hooked up caught fish on everything I tried. Dry, pupae emerger, parachute emerger, clink hammer and nymph. So, maybe everything works if you fish it at the right time. That's all I got for now. Maybe I'll come up with better words of wisdom in the next video. See you then.